Right, you lovely lot. Today, I know I'm late to the party, but this is the R1300GS. What do we think? Now, bear with me, because I'm not a GS fanboy. I don't think I've ever owned a BMW motorcycle before. I'm going to give you my honest opinion. First of all, looks. Let's have a look at the bike. You tell me what you think on the looks. I'll tell you what I think. Side on, it's an unmistakable GS, isn't it? You've got the engine sticking out at the side, very characteristic of the bike. I like the look of the exhaust at the back. That's not standard, that's an extra, expensive extra. I think it's about £900 to go with that exhaust over the standard one. The wheels, believe it or not, they are an extra as well, something like a £500 upgrade. I think I prefer the spokes, but let me know what you think. This does have the upgraded BMW brakes, they're part of the performance pack. Again, it's an extra, it costs more money. I'm told they are considerably better than the standard ones, and as far as brakes go on this, for the little ride I've had, the brakes work really, really well. Whether or not it's worth the extra money, I don't know, because I've not felt the standard ones. Now the looks from the front, this is where it divides opinion. In particular, that. Now I personally don't mind it, but I was never a GS fanboy, big light, little light. I never really sold on that. So I actually like the styling of this. I like this little star setup. I think there is an upgrade you can do. You can change that slightly, but again, it's more money. So I think this is a better looking bike than the 1250. I know, controversial, and it's against what all of the other YouTubers I've seen have said. It's an opinion, and it's my very own opinion, so I'm allowed to have one. So it has got the upgraded foot pegs, so these are the Enduro ones, I believe, part of the Enduro pack, which is an extra. So you pay extra, but you get the chunkier pegs, front and rear. This is the standard seat. The seat comes in, I'm gonna say, 3 different heights. It isn't adjustable, or it is slightly. I think you can raise the back slightly, but then you kind of dipping forward a bit. I don't know. I don't get why they do that. 3 different types of seats. You've got the standard seat, you've got the low seat, you've got the high seat, but they range from 800mm to 890. While you've got this little rack, you haven't got the plate on the back to put your luggage. Believe it or not, that's an extra. What I will say, from speaking to the guys in the dealers, the plate on the back, so you can put the luggage, if you purchase it with the bike, it costs about £200 and something. So it's another extra, yes it is. But if you take your bike in there to get it fitted afterwards, it's about £1,000. So that £200 is worth spending, because it means you're set up for luggage, but importantly, it means you don't have to spend £1,000 when you decide to go on tour. And resale value, I'm told it could be the difference of £500–600 when you actually come to resell. So it's worth getting the luggage at the back, or certainly the plate at the back that's set up for the luggage. Standard, it comes with the side stand. Extra, I can't remember if it's part of one of the packs. I don't know if it's the comfort pack, but or touring pack or what, I don't know, but you get the side stand and the center stand with this version. The triple black, I like the triple black, but I do like the trophy as well. It's the blue and white one. I really like the look of that. There's just so many, and to be fair, I've had a little ride already, and I've really not used any of them other than the indicators. There's a lot of tech on this bike. It's got the cruise control, as you would expect. Now this one has got the adaptive, active, I don't know what BMW are calling it, but it's the one that the radar's at the front and it'll slow you down, speed you up depending on the car in front of you. So it's got that. The standard bike comes with standard cruise control, the fancy one with the radars that increases, decreases speed. Yeah, you guessed it, it's an extra. More money. Heated seat, yes, it's an extra. But it does come as standard with heated grips. I'm not bothered about a heated seat. I think it was like another £250, something like that, just to keep your bum warm. I've never had that before. Heated grips, a must. Heated bum, not sure. Let me know in the comments if you've paid for it or you've got it, because for me, it's just a step too far. I'd save money. So you've got the cruise control stuff, we've got hazards, we've got this it's like a fast menu button. I'll show you that in a sec. We've got another menu button, we've got your indicators, we've got an up and down here for when you're in your menu. You've also got your wheel, so you can wheel up and down and you can go left and right. And if you've seen them before, if you've seen BMs, they've had them on the last couple of generations. They work really well, to be fair. They eliminate loads of buttons. Right hand side, nice and simples really. You've got your engine stop start, we've got a mode button, and then you've got your on button. So previous generation had like a switch on button there because it's keyless. This has just moved that button to there, so you've not got any button in the center, you've just got it here. So this button will control the ignition, it controls your steering lock, it does all that stuff. Yeah, and let's have a look at the screen. So standard BMW TFT, it needs a service, this bike, so I've been told in the garage, so just ignore the warning light for that. It just needs a service. It's class leading, it's very, very clear, it is a lovely screen. It's got a nice big speedo, your rev meter tells you what mode you're in, you've got a time, and no, it's not 2:59 in the morning, that's clearly wrong. But the temperature is 17, it's 17 and dry. That's very rare for one of my rides. The main things that people play with on this bike, heated grip, that is essential for all year riding for me. Your heated grips are the best. Your windscreen, you can put your windscreen up. That's it in its highest setting. So it is quite high. If we just go here, move it down to the bottom. So it's a couple of inches, but I like it. Then you've got the suspension, your ride height, damping, all of that stuff. So there's a lot going on. The only things I'd bother with really is going to be the heated grips and maybe the mode button. So the mode, Rain, Road, Dynamic and Dynamic Pro. Again, I think that that's an extra, because as standard, I'm pretty sure they only come with 2 or 3 modes. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think there's an extra 1 or 2 on there from standard. I like this as an extra. We've got a little storage cupboard here. When I say storage, it'll fit your phone in. But I like that because when I tour, I always have my tank bag on. I think it's brilliant because it's easy to get to my passport. Well, that would fit your passport in, it'd fit your phone in. And let me just lift that up. Yeah, there is a USB connector in there as well. So somewhere to put your phone and charge your phone or passport when you're touring. Like it. Now, one thing that's always got me with adventure bikes is I'm only short, I'm 5'8", my legs are about, I don't know, they're about as big as my little finger. I've got short legs, short person problems. But one good thing with this bike, because in the standard setup like this, I think it's like 850mm, something like that, when you've got the standard seat on. But it actually feels quite low as far as adventure bikes go. I'm on the balls of my feet. But because of all the weight on this bike being quite low down, when you're on the balls of your feet, you don't feel like you're in a perilous position where you feel like the bike's going to tip over either way. Just moving your feet, moving your body either side, the bike moves easily, but you don't feel the weight. It's actually a really secure place to be. And I've been on quite a few adventure bikes where in this position, you don't move too much because you can feel the weight top heavy. Not the case with this. If you get the low seat, it goes down to 800 mils. I don't think I'd bother. Even at my height, I'm quite happy with the standard one. I'd just stay with that. High seat or the tall seat goes to 890. So if you are one of those giants, you might want to get some, well, one of those stuck on there, but I don't need it. You'll have to watch the test ride to see how I really feel about it. One thing that you've got to address, and it's the price. These bikes are expensive. Now, they advertise them at being under £16,000 because that's how much they are for a basic one. I sat with the salesman before I took this out and I went over a couple of the things that I wanted in the bike. So I like the trophy colour, I like the blue and white, that was an extra £900. I like the different exhaust, that was an extra £900 I think. I like the centre stand option, so that was an extra couple of £100. The electric screen, the bigger foot pegs. There was a lot of things that I went through and thought, you know what, I do like that. So it kept going up and up and up. So even being fairly sensible, I got to £21,500, £6,000 worth of extras. Even taking away the exhaust and taking away a couple of the bits, you're still going to be talking close to the £20,000 mark. And is it worth it? There's a lot of bikes out there, so I think the best thing for us to do is go for a ride. I shall make my mind up, is it worth £20,000 or more than £20,000? That's the decision. But as always, I'll be brutally honest. If it's not, if I think this bike is just overpriced and there's a better stuff out there, I'll tell you. If I think it's brilliant, I'll tell you. If you've now got to me and you're looking at this bike, you've already seen a lot of videos on it. I'm not going to start repeating what other people have said. I mean, the main things for me is the seat height. I'm happy with the standard seat height and I'm 5'8", so you judge that yourself. Bear in mind with this bike, because it's got the adaptive suspension or the active suspension, when you ride off on this bike, the bike does raise, and it raises a fair few inches as well. So I think that's why they get away with it being lower when it's stopped or not moving, because as soon as you start moving, it just goes and you don't feel it. You don't even hear that noise that I've just made. I don't even know why I did it, but it does that. So yeah, so you've got the ground clearance and everything else. Power. Now it's got a 1300cc engine, so it's going to have lots of power. It's got 145 horsepowers. Brum brums. I will try it on a series of different roads. We'll try some twisty roads. We'll try some motorway roads. We'll give it a good testing. From a personal point of view, I've always considered a GS. I've always, to this point, decided against it because both the 1200 and 1250, brilliant bikes, brilliant workhorses, but I just found them to be a little bit dull. They didn't put a smile on my face. Brilliant bikes, quick, everything, but just didn't excite me. And if this is different, it could well be the bike that I go for next. It might be my divorce present to myself, which, for you ladies out there, should be finalised in the next day or two. Do you know what I'm saying? There's got to be some women out there looking for a little fat guy. Actually, no, there's not. I'm going to die alone. Sad face. I don't care. I've got motorbikes, so there. Don't care. A divorce present for myself. And whether this makes the list of things that I would buy, I don't know. But I think I will treat myself to a new bike when the divorce is final. Got to, haven't you? Got to. It's just the rules. So let's go for a ride. Let's see if this makes the shortlist. What does it sound like with the Akrapovic exhaust? Yeah, I know someone will say, you don't pronounce it like that. And well, I've heard it pronounced that many different ways on YouTube. That's just how I'm gonna say it. A Krapovich, I don't care. But it's an expensive upgrade. Let's see what it sounds like. Now there is a little bit of a rumble. It is quite loud, to be fair. And the characteristics of these bikes, if you've never been on one before, now the 1200 is probably the worst for this, and it seems to ease off as you get to this one, but the slightest rev, you feel the engine go like that. So when you rev it just at a standing start, it's like, believe it or not, I'm not moving the bike. The bike is just going like that. So if you've never been on one before, it's just what they do. You don't feel it when you're riding, but you do when you give it a little bit of a rev. It makes you tingle in your special place. It makes me tingle in my special place, which is a good start. It is, in fact, it's a great start, because if this bike is making me feel excited and giddy, then we're already off to a good start. This is better than the new Tiger. I've said it, and I genuinely believe it. And do you know what? I'm actually disappointed with myself as I'm riding this bike. A nice bike to throw around the bends as well. It's just effortless, because this bike feels so light when you're riding. In fact, it feels light while you just stop, to be fair, but when you're riding it just glides around the bends, and it is unbelievably effortless going around the corners. For commuting, for touring, it just seems like the perfect bike. And I don't like saying it, I feel dirty saying it, because I've never really felt that way about a GS before. There's quite a few people on YouTube that have said, oh yes, the 1300 GS, it's more expensive than the 1200, 1250, and it's a little bit better, and it's only a little bit better, so why spend all of that money for a little bit better? And I get that, I value their opinion, I do. However, from a non-GS rider, I've never owned a GS, but I've ridden plenty, I can categorically say that there is not a little bit of difference between these bikes. There is a lot of difference between these bikes. The power delivery on this just seems more brutal, but in a good way. It feels brutal in a way that puts a big beaming smile on your face. When I've been doing local rides, NC500 and such like, and you go on your little sports bike and you think you're the fastest person in the world, and you're giving it some, and you're forward over the tank, and you're thinking this is how you do it, boys, and you're living your absolute best life, and then all of a sudden someone on a GS comes flying past you like you're not moving, and they wave. And there is nothing more embarrassing to somebody who thinks that they're going like Billy-O down the road, and somebody on a GS just comes past and gives you the wave, and you think, what the hell? And it is true with these bikes. They can go quickly, but they can do it in a way that you don't feel like you're going quick. Just get down to BMW. They've got these bikes on as demos now. Get down there and just go and ride one. You just have to. This is quite possibly the best bike I've been on. Do I say ever? Oh, bold! I know there's loads of wind noise, and I know I don't normally talk a lot when I'm on the motorway. I'm going to duck down for some wind protection. Right, this has to be possibly the best bike I've ever ridden. And I don't say that lightly. I ride a lot of bikes, but this bike has just blown me away today. Now I can talk without loads of wind now, so I'm gonna just tell you why I'm so frustrated by this bike. Now, I'm frustrated by this bike because this bike is so goddamn good. Now that frustrates me because for somebody with a YouTube channel, anybody who watches other YouTube motorcyclists out there would know that in the UK, if you've got a decent sized channel, what bike have you got? Well, let's see. The Missington Flyer built his channel based on his, you guessed it, his BMW GS. Teapot 1, he's on his second or third or whatever GS. He loves the GS. Tins on tour. Now, I love those guys. They're local to me, so they've had a lot of GS's. He's always got a GS. I think he's swapped from a GS, but then goes back to a GS. Another one, username Kate, GS. Anyway, there are loads. They're all GS mad. But that's what frustrates me with this, because I have never wanted to be the same as everybody else. I don't want to be the same as them. I want to be different. It's why I ride a Nikon. My Nikon, I absolutely love my Nikon. It's been amazing. It's brilliant for touring. The Nikon gets so much attention. It's phenomenal. There's not loads of people have got them. It's brilliant. But this, loads of people have got them. And it's frustrating me because I want one. That's what's frustrating me, because I don't want to be the same as everyone else. But I think I've realised now that the reason everyone's got one, and in particular YouTubers, you're constantly on and off different bikes. When you get on something that is special, when you jump on something that makes you realise what amazing feels like, when you jump on something that makes you feel like this is the best bike I've ever ridden, you then understand why everybody has one. I've never really considered changing and swapping my Nikon for anything until today, and that's why I hate myself and I feel all dirty. Damn you, BMW. I'd have to, oh, I've got a BMW car. I'd have to change my car. I couldn't be a BMW rider and driver. No, I'd have to start buying the clothing and everything, and that's just weird. I know there's people out there that'll do that, and fair play to you, you know, I'm sure you think you look cool. No, you do, you look cool, bless you. There is absolutely nothing to complain about with this bike. This bike just ticks every single box. It's, do you get one that's kitted out with all the stuff you want, or do you try and get one on a budget? But even on a budget, it's £16,000, and then you don't get a lot of the extras that you want. So loads of decisions, loads of things to think about for me, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go away and have a proper little think. I'm not in any rush. Whilst my next bike will be a divorce present for myself, yeah, I've just got some thinking to do. I'm not going to rush into anything. It's a big investment to go out and buy something like this, and unlike those YouTubers that are earning the big bucks, I don't. Everyone should have one. If you could afford one, I would say go and buy one tomorrow, because they're that good. Guys, I will catch you on the next one. Laters.